Welcome to Money Matters, the podcast that focuses on how to use the money you have, make the money you need, and save the money you want. Now, here is your host, Ms. Kim Chapman.
Welcome to another edition of Money Matters. Guess what? The holiday season is here, and what should be the happiest time of the year where we spend lots of time with family, and of course we spend money because it's gonna be Christmas. But guess what? It's also the busiest time of the year for scam artists, people that are looking to steal your assets. So we want to make sure that you stay safe during the holiday season. So with me today, actually returning, is the VP of Information Security, Mr. Russell Barger.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming back. We definitely are going to need your expertise so that we can stay safe. You know, we want to be able to shop. Shopping online is so convenient, but at the same time, it's a little scary. It's a little dangerous because the scammers are out there and they're looking for those vulnerable moments so that they can take advantage. So what are you seeing as some of the biggest crimes, cyber crimes that are coming out, especially for the holiday season?
So Kim, the trick with the holiday season is, how does our behavior change? So we're shopping more, we're going to more sites, we're getting more things delivered to us. So we're getting tracking notifications. We're looking for deals, or we're looking for that special gift that you have to have this year. And all of those things make very predictable behavior that the bad guys know. Mm-hmm. And if they know what the behavior is, they can find ways to exploit it. So, you know, when you talk about sites, you might get a ad pop up that says, "Ooh, come to our site. We have everything 50% off. Come shop with us," when the whole thing is a scam. You might get social media posts where people are selling something. They're selling that item and they're selling it super cheap. And you're like, "Ooh, that's a deal. Let me grab that." Once again, probably a scam. And then we get these all year round, but what about the tracking notifications that you get? Click this link to track your package, or there's a delivery problem and say you're waiting on something because you have to take this. You have to get this delivered.
And who isn't waiting on something?
Right. So are you more likely to click on that during the holiday season than you would at another time? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So all of those things are sort of the common gotchas during Christmas because of the behavior, because they know what you're trying to do right now and they know what you're interested in.
Yeah, I have to say, I think the delivery one has to be one of the most clever scams that I think is around, because again, if I were to survey, you know, who's not waiting for a package from Amazon, from Shein, and all these other online things. So what are some of the warning signs? So when we get that, because I remember one morning, it was like 6:00 in the morning, I received one of those emails or texts saying that, hey, that there's a problem with my delivery. And to be honest, I'd had a delivery I was expecting, and I think I'd actually received a legitimate email saying that it was delayed, and then I received this one. For me, I think what caught my attention was that it was from Amazon at FeliciaSmith.com, and I'm like, who's Felicia? So what are some of the warning signs that we could look for that it's a scam?
So the warning signs for the holiday season really are all the same warning signs that you deal with all the time throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Who is it that this is coming from? Is this an unexpected number? Is this an unexpected email? Is the information have a sense of urgency to it? You know, you need to do this now. You need to click this. Somebody got into your account. All of those things are used to elicit a response instead of stopping and thinking about what this is or who it's from or looking into the details of what it is that you're being sent. So, you know, that's the tricky part of the psychological game that the bad guys play, is they don't want you to stop and think. They just want you to react.
Right.
Oh, my package is running late. Well, I need that. Let me click and see what the problem is, or where it's stuck, or how long it's going to be. Oh, here's this thing that's 50% off that I really want. Well, I can go over here and get it on this legit site that I know is safe, but it costs $20 more there. That risky click of going over to the cheap site may just result in you losing access to your bank account, losing access to money, identity theft, and, you know, name it. Any of those bad things can happen. So it's a lot of those same identifiers. Were you expecting this? And we don't always. For instance, with those emails of, hey, something's running late. You're not expecting that because you don't want it to run late, right? But that doesn't mean you automatically trust it. Especially if you weren't expecting it, be very wary. But I tell people in this day and age, with the amount of things going on, the scams, the bad guys doing things, really you need to have your thinking cap on all the time. Don't let things pressure you and pay attention to all the details. Sometimes you may get a legit email that says something's running late. Does that mean you have to click on that link? Okay, it's running late. You can't do anything about it.
No, I need my package today. You said 24 hours.
But clicking that link doesn't make it come any faster. So I've run into that before where you get something and you're just not sure and you're like, this is not going to be the risky click of the day for me. I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to wait and it'll get here when it gets here.
If only we could be that patient. So, like I said, shopping online seems to be the wave. I can remember 10 years ago, what the heck was Cyber Monday? It was like, I'm not shopping online. I'm going to go to the store. But so many people are doing online. And of course, there are people that are a little bit hesitant. Taking the hustle and bustle away, if I want to sit down, focused, and do some shopping online, what are some good practices? What are some things that all people should do before they even start clicking to just kind of minimize their risk?
So really, you don't want to click. If Amazon sends you something that says, hey, we've got this item, click this link to get there. The correct course of action is just go to Amazon.com and go find the item. You know how to get there. It doesn't require you clicking on anything that might, maybe not, but might get you in trouble, right? Those links, they're nice, they're quick, but they're also a great delivery mechanism for the bad guys to install things, have you give information, anything else. If you know this is at Amazon, go look at Amazon and just, go hunt for it. Same thing. Stick with your trusted websites. We shop at Amazon, we shop at Walmart, we shop at Target, all these .coms that we're very familiar with. We know how to get there. We know how to use it. None of those require using a link or a shortcut to get me there that may redirect me somewhere else.
So take the extra minute to save the dollar. And
Yeah,
you may save
absolutely. That's a better safe than sorry thing. Yes, clicking that link may get me to that exact item, or it may get me to a site that isn't even Amazon.
And of course, obviously, I would imagine for our personal lives, we click a lot more than professional. But of course, criminals are out to do, scams professionally well. So how can we protect ourselves in terms of the workplace?
So in the workplace, you're going to have a couple of big scams that come out during this time of season. You're going to have HR and you're going to have payroll. The HR ones are great because what do people do during the holiday season? They take time off, right?
Oh, of course.
I actually ran a fish test in a previous organization around Christmas time and said, ooh, a vacation policy change. Click the link to see what it is. The most clicks I've ever had in any fish test I've ever seen because it was very timely, right?
Oh,
and that's
course.
part of that behavior. They want to know, okay, it's this season. That means this behavior. That means I use this type of attack. Mm-hmm. And so you got HR warnings. You've got, hey, this is changing. Pay attention. And what's your brain on? Your brain's on, how do I safely shop at Amazon? Right? How do I get what I need to get? It's not on that. And you see, oh, what are they changing now? Let me click on this and see what I need to do. And you don't stop and think about it. Payroll's the same thing. They're looking for you to be distracted during the season because we are distracted. There's a lot going on. We're way busier than we normally are personally. You may have family coming into town. You're worried about what to get people. You're worried about this, that, and the other. And all of that distraction sets you up to be more likely to click on something or not pay attention to something that normally you would.
Are there ways, when I think back to days when I worked in branch, if you thought a check was fake, you could bring it to your teller and they could maybe run it and see if it was legitimate. Are there tests that we could do if we see a link that we want to click on, if we see a special? Are there things that we can do to verify it before clicking on the link other than maybe just going to that actual website?
Sort of. You can definitely mouse over the link, just hover over it and see where it goes. Okay. But that's not always a guarantee.
Okay.
And that's why I say, don't click unless you have to. Go directly to Amazon and go look for it because they can get really tricky, even with the fonts that you use. An I in one font and an I in another font may send you to two different sites. Or you'll see, say, like a Microsoft.com. Instead of using an M, you can use an R and an N, and those together look like an M. And there's all kinds of little tricks like that you can use to make it look like you're going somewhere that you're actually not. Yeah. So best advice, don't click on any link you don't have to. If you know that you can get there another way, you know how to get to the site, do it like that. Don't click on the link.
So it kind of sounds like the best advice is just to slow down, take your time. The long way might be the best way.
When I teach security classes, I usually sum them up to the end in 2 words, is don't click. Because that really is how they're going to get you, if they're going to get you, is by clicking on
Sounds
something.
like a caption for a billboard. Now, of course, we know not everybody's going to listen, or for some people, it might be just a day late and a dollar short for this
Mhm.
information. So, if you've clicked on something and you fear that you've been scammed or maybe you've exposed your information, what are some common immediate things that someone should do?
So depending on what information that you've done or what you've clicked on, there's a few different avenues here. Number one, if you clicked and it opened up a page that if you put in your credentials into, so you're using a password for like an Amazon or something like that, and you immediately have that instant regret of, wait a minute, I'm not sure I should have done that. Your first move is always to go change your password as quickly as possible. When in doubt, go change your password. It's annoying. Yes, you have to remember a new password. However you're doing that, I recommend password managers. But however you're doing that, that is the safest thing you can do, because the quicker you can do that, the more likely, if they did get your information, they can't use it. If you've clicked on something and it tried to install something, that's where it gets a little hairier. You can try and stop that, but that may or may not work, and you may have already, hopefully you're backing up your information onto something else,
Okay.
because that's when it really gets scary, when things get installed, because you don't know what that's doing and what it's going to impact. So, credential wise, always default to change the password quick.
Okay. So, changing your passwords, doing all things are great. We love the convenience. We love the convenience of when we buy something online and it says, would you like to save your credit card number? Would you like us to save your debit card number? How dangerous is that? Is that something that every person listening should go in and remove that? Or is it only if we're still clicking on unknown links?
No perfect answer to that one.
Okay.
Even me, do I have my credit card saved on Amazon? I do.
Oh, I
But
feel better.
on a lot of other sites, on less well-known sites that I've still done business with, no, I do not. And the reason behind that is you have to kind of look at the company that you're doing business with. And in my brain, I go, what's the likelihood of them getting hacked and some hacker getting access to my credit card information that they're storing? Well, when it's a smaller shop, you have to say that probability goes up versus an Amazon. Amazon's got an army of security people. This small shop does not. And we don't know how they're doing business in the background. So when it's a kind of smaller shop type of thing, or maybe, even like an Etsy or something like that, I do not save my credit card information in those. The bigger shops, the Walmarts and Amazons of the world, are they perfect? No. Do they get hacked? Yes, but they've got a lot more money invested in protecting that information than, say, these others.
All right, I'll sleep a little bit better knowing that we're on the same page
Okay.
with that. Now, cybercrime is not always limited to just being online. I want to just take a minute and talk about some of the other, I guess, digital crimes. For example, gift cards. This is the time of the year where people buy those, now more than ever. And you see now you have to worry about, did somebody go in the store, that they steal the number and go online and do it. I remember literally reading that you buy them from a store where the cards are literally in front of the register, because it's
Mhm.
less likely somebody will come in and
Correct.
take those cards and damage them. What information can you share, if anything, that kind of help us keep safe with buying gift cards?
So really, there's two sides of the gift card business when it comes to security. You'll see it from the side you're talking about, where you want to go buy one, but you're afraid that it's been, it's already been scratched off, it's been accessed, however you want to say it. That's true, but that's also not as common. Does it happen? Yes. Is it a big concern? Not usually, because you can tell if the package has been tampered with in a lot of cases. So my advice with those is check over the package, make sure it looks like this is, it's still stuck down. The case is still around it. Depending on where you shop at, kind of depends on what that looks like. But what I would actually like to point out about gift cards is be very aware and careful of someone soliciting you to buy a gift card. That's actually a much more common attack, is like your boss sends you an email and says, hey, I need you to go buy $400 worth of gift cards for this meeting that I'm in for these people for Christmas or something like that. Gift cards become a much more common currency
Yes.
during the holiday season than they do, say, in the middle of June. It might stick out to you in June, where in December they're going, oh, this is
a common practice.
Yeah, this is
something
for
we
all
do
the vendors
time.
that just came in. We want to do this, or our employee. We've got special people here that are, and we want to do this. So it kind of clicks in the brain of, oh, this is probably more okay than it would be in June. And you have to stop and look at that and really decide, is this legit? Maybe you contact that person in a different way, don't reply to the email, because their email may be compromised at that point. But say you give them a call and you go, hey, Bob, did you send me this email about getting gift cards for the people? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, gift cards as a currency during the holiday season is definitely more of a thing than it is at other times.
So any other maybe non-online or digital areas we should be looking for where people are easily scammed more so during the holiday time?
So you do see an uptick in social engineering attacks during the holiday season. Once again, go back to that idea of we're all busy, we're all distracted, we're all doing other things, thinking about other things. It makes us more susceptible to being attacked. And when I say social engineering, that's the phone calls. That's these random texts. I don't know if everybody else is getting them, but I'm getting them. It's the random text of, hey, how's it going today? Or, hey, we just had a meeting about such and such, and, call me about this. And there may not even be a link involved that they want you to click on. Sometimes there is, and sometimes there isn't. But con men or scammers in this case, they just want to start a conversation, and whatever they need to do to start that conversation, they're going to say. And if they throw enough hooks out there, sooner or later they get a
Somebody's
bite,
gonna
right?
get a bite.
So with you, it might be they try this angle, they try that angle, and none of those work, but they hit you one time and you're not paying attention, and it's late at night and you're tired, and this one, you're like, oh, yeah, I need to respond to that. And you send them your cell phone number. So now they know that that's kind of like blood on the water. Is, oh, they fell for it. Let me keep going and let me keep going. So the social engineering definitely shows an uptick during the holiday season. It's always a thing, but again, we're distracted. We're busy.
Is there any foolproof way to detect spoofing? Because that seems to be a big thing. It says Regions Bank, it says Neighbors Federal Credit Union, and it's really not. Is there any thing that we can clue in on that says, yeah, I know it says Neighbors, but I know it's not?
So you have to take let's say we're talking about an email or a text. You have to take the whole message and kind of evaluate it, instead of immediately looking at that email address and going, this is legit, and then continuing. You have to take it holistically and look at, okay, it says it's from this person, but it's telling me these weird things that I've never seen before, and I'm not sure about this. So even though I kind of trust maybe who that source is, who that from address is, the message doesn't sit right. So you have to look at all the individual little pieces. And, when we talk about phishing emails, you're looking at things like, who is the address that it says it's coming from, which can be spoofed. You can fake that. What's the subject say? Is it kind of weird? Do you not normally see subjects like this from that kind of vendor? Is the to very impersonal, dear whomever, or
Right.
however they want to say it. Does it normally come like that?
Does
Or
it
is it
seem a little
always
off?
personalized? Then the message, does it make sense? Is it broken English? That's kind of an old idea,
Yesterday's, yeah.
because AI makes it so easy to write a solid email now. It's not hard for somebody who doesn't even speak English to write an English email that
So
makes
true.
complete sense. But you're looking for that overall context of what the message is, not just trusting, oh, because it says this is from this person, it's legit. It's not necessarily true.
So now that we've kind of scared everybody to stay home and do homemade gifts, it definitely save you a lot of money. Is there any one golden rule that you think everybody listening should kind of abide by, whether it's the holiday season or not, to avoid or minimize their chances of being scammed?
So the two big things, going back to one earlier, is the don't click. If you can avoid clicking on things, don't click. Even if it's legit, go the other way. Do something to get around clicking on that if at all possible. If you can't and you have to, and that's your risky click of the day, and you're rolling the dice a little
Click
bit.
at your own advantage.
But we all have to do that. And the other thing I would say, kind of my other big catchphrase is, were you expecting this? Now, in the holiday season, that gets trickier, right? Because 50% off of such and such and such. Well, you weren't expecting that and you're happy about it and you're seeing it, but now you have to evaluate that. You have to stop and apply judgment. And that's really the exhausting part of being secure, is that you have to spend a lot of energy stopping and looking and saying, does this make sense? We want to be on autopilot. We just want to see and react, especially, emotional reaction, or there's a time element to it. I got to act fast or this is going to go away.
It's Christmas Eve and I've got 10 minutes left to get this done.
Right. So it's harder during that holiday season to say, were you expecting this? But it's still a nice golden rule to kind of live by when you get that email or when you get that text, or, was I expecting this UPS notification? Yes, but that doesn't mean I'm going to click on it. Do I really need to know where this is? No, it's either going to show up at my door on time or it's not. And clicking on that link doesn't make anything move very fast.
Well, you heard it here from the expert, head of information security. Don't click. Take your time. Read. If it sounds too good to be true, go to the actual website instead of clicking on those links. That way you can enjoy this time of the year without the fear of having to become victim of a scam. Thank you, Russell, for joining us again. Hopefully this will help a lot of our listeners stay safe during the holiday season.
Thank you for having me.
It's time for Blueprint Building Blocks. Small changes that lead to big financial wins. Let's stack up for success.
Think before you click. Scammers love the holidays. Don't let them love your wallet too. Think before you click and shop only from trusted sites. Your money, your guard. Keep your information safe this season. Use strong passwords. Avoid public Wi-Fi and never share your personal information through email or text. Look, if it's a deal that sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Verify before you buy. Double check links before entering your payment information. Look, cybercrimes don't stop at home. Be cautious with emails and attachments at work too. One wrong click can affect your whole system. Be safe through the holidays. Enjoy them, but just use a little bit of common sense.
That's a wrap on today's Blueprint Building Blocks. Stay on track with your financial journey. Subscribe to the Money Matters podcast